Following the story of Balthazar Engonga Ebang, after the tapes of his escapades with the wives of top officials went public, Engonga found himself suspended and soon after dismissed by none other than the president, Teodoro Obiang Nguema Mbasogo. But that wasn't all. Vice President Teodoro Nguema Obiang Mangue got involved, ordering telecom companies to stop these videos from spreading like wildfire on WhatsApp. To make things a bit awkward, the restrictions mean folks now needed Wi Fi to share anything remotely exciting, which hasn't exactly thrilled the public. Now, here's where it gets juicier. The tapes didn't just fall from the sky. They apparently leaked while Ngoga was locked up in Black Beach Prison for embezzling public funds. In response, the vice president decided it's time for all government offices to get some extra supervision with surveillance cameras soon to keep tabs on everyone. The vice president didn't just stop there. He banned any resemblance of romantic activity around the office areas, and anyone caught bending this rule will be let out the door fast. In short, the government is ensuring that there is no room for Ngonga level mischief in Equatorial Guinea. The story of Balthazar Engonga Ebang has brought scandal to Equatorial Guinea. And like society does, everyone is running around to assign blame. But what we're going to do today is we're going to pause and we're going to explore larger constructs within the confines of marriage, power, and unmet expectations within relationships. We're going to ask questions that are mostly uncomfortable, that lie beneath the surface of the scandal. Now, these questions are going to be reflexive in nature. What does that mean? These questions would invite you to think. Think within the confines of your culture, think within the confines uh, of your take on life. All right? I'm not here to tell you what is and what isn't. I'm here to invite you to think beyond what we're presented with. First question is why is most of the society blaming Balthazar? He happens to be the face of the scandal, but we quickly forget that the scandal involves hundreds of women. What does that say about the society's tendency to ignore the complexity of a woman's emotional needs? Why is it that Balthazar is a central figure? What does that say about the culture of the society? What does that say about the society's stake on infidelity and marriage? The second question is what void was Balthazar trying to fill? Now, he is a man that had wealth, power, prestige. He had the life that a lot of people can only dream of. But here we are today. What was missing from his life? This only begs the question about human desire. I feel that it is time that people should have honest conversations about what they really want within the confines of personal relationships. In this case, marriage. What do you want? What do you really want? The third question is what void exists in the marriages of the 400 plus women? The African society puts women, married women, in a place where there are expectations of you after uh, you marry a man. But the sheer scale of the number of women involved in this scandal shows a collective pattern, and this suggests that there is emotional
or physical dissatisfaction, neglect, you know, from their spouses. It begs the question of the needs, unspoken needs of these women in that country and in Africa in general. Fourth question is, should the meaning of marriage be reevaluated? Traditional views of marriage in generations before today hold notions of loyalty, perseverance, stability, and all of that, as the structures that held together a good marriage. But you realize that behind closed doors, the opposite is the case. Should there be a revisit to the traditional structures that held together the value of what the institution of marriage is? And that leads me straight to question 5. Is there a need to check personal expectations of marriage as time goes on? And to this, I say yes. When people get married and time goes by, children come in, people lose jobs, people find jobs, change happens when people get married. It is important that people revisit what their expectations are. Both people in the marriage have open conversations of what they want. As time passes, people change, situations change. So I feel that there should be an emphasis of what people expect when they go into marriage as time goes on, so that people would not feel like their expectations are being cut short. Power dynamics and relationships. Who holds the power? This is question 6. Given that most of the women were married to influential men, it begs the question of the power play at work. Could it be that because Balthazar was an influential man, that was the attraction? Could it be that being with the wives of his colleagues who were equally powerful men asserted his influence? The next question is, how do we handle privacy in an era where scandal and exposure can ruin the reputation of people overnight? Imagine the impact on the family of these people, the children, the spouses, the extended network. The impact is damaging on this scandal, even much more than the individuals at the center. The next question is related to one that we've already spoken about, and that is, what is the place of being genuine in a society that punishes people for their true desires? This is not just about Balthazar, this is about everybody. Balthazar is in this situation because his was on tape. Lots of people do things behind closed doors that a society would not approve of. What is the line between morality and what we really want? What conversations are we having with our loved ones, our friends, our workers about what we want from life? Are people really living double lives? Or is the question is, what percentage of people are living double lives? The last question is there redemption after a scandal? Now let's look beyond Balthazar and the 400 plus women in Equatorial Guinea. When scandals of this nature happen, when people go through traumatic events such as this, the society that we live in tends to punish us even more than our crimes. As we watch these videos and reel over them, As we engage in the blame game, please let's be reminded that human nature makes mistakes and that people make mistakes. It doesn't mean that they cannot be accountable for those mistakes and rise from them. A person's mistake does not define their entire life, whether it's in Equatorial Guinea, any part of Africa, or beyond. As we watch, as we have our opinions and judge, remember that it can happen to anybody. Let's hear what you think about these questions that have been raised.